Hey everyone, Adam here with another RimWorld guide. This guide is part of a series regarding different defensive options in RimWorld. Using killboxes has always been a hot button topic in RimWorld. Some are against the very idea and some love trying to optimize them. I stand by the stance of do whatever's fun for you. I've played and had fun with and without killboxes. So in this RimWorld guide to defense, I'm going to be talking about a setup I have used off and on for years and years, the Burnbox. I'll tell you how to build it, the optimal size, what it's good against, what it's bad against, and answer dozens of common questions I've been asked over the years. So what is a Burnbox? Well, a Burnbox is simply a room, hallway, or a series of those in which you superheat the air in order to kill flesh-based enemies with minimal effort. So how do you build it? One great thing about the overall design is that it doesn't have to be super precise. In the early game, you can make it much smaller and then expand it later. Also, connecting this to another kill area can allow you to go even smaller. If you want a minimum size that works for all applicable enemy types though, you'll need to start with at least a 19 by 19 outer wall. And a quick note about this design before we get started, I really recommend that you do build it in this exact order to prevent long pathing issues later as you're constructing more and more of it. First, build the 19 by 19 exterior wall, leaving a spot at each end for doors. Then double up the walls. This helps hold in heat as well as safeguards from any one-off wall getting destroyed by an explosion or a raider or whatever. Make sure you also double up the doors on each side. Now plan out your corridors, leaving space for around 30 tiles at the end. Now place a piece of fence made out of any material that will not burn on every other tile starting at the enemy entrance. Yes, there are other things you can use in place of fencing, but I will get to that later. Now go to the Architect button, Zone, Build Roof Area, and build a roof over the entire thing. It is very important that the entire box is roofed. If even a few pieces are missing, this will not work. You can use the Roof Overlay button in the bottom right of your screen to make sure everything is roofed. Now that the roof is complete, fill in all the walls, making sure to leave access for your workers without them having to walk through the entire maze. You may be asking yourself, why not use doors in the middle? I will also be answering that and a ton of other FAQ type questions in just a moment. Now, this part is very important. Make sure if this is connected to your base that you have at least a small unroofed room area right outside. If not, then you will superheat the connected room and kill any of your own people that are inside. Not that I have any experience having done that. If this connects to an outdoor kill box, then you don't have to worry about this part at all. If you don't want to have to remember the dimensions, feel free to head over to my website, adamversuseverything.com, and download the blueprint for your own game. Now that your basic setup is done, we need fuel. I have tested just about every fuel imaginable, and I will list the pros and cons of each one later, but for now we're going to use wood. It ends up being the best in most situations anyway. So here's the thing about wood. A single piece of wood has the same HP as a stack of 75 logs. That means it burns the same length and heat regardless if you have a single piece or 75. But without a mod, you can't specify a zone to have only one piece of wood. But there is a solution. First, we're going to turn off construction on all of the pawns by going to the work tab, then holding shift and right-clicking on construct. Now, click to build wooden fences in all of the fuel spots. Once the wood has been delivered, select all the fencing and hit cancel. This will drop single pieces on the ground, which you can now disallow so other pawns won't go and gather them later. This works better than actually building the fence and destroying them. This is also extremely low wealth. It's like one tree worth of wood. I also recommend putting a shelf nearby with wood on it for further refueling as needed. The last step I recommend is causing collision. I won't go over the entire mechanics here as I already have a guide on this. Go check out my pathing guide if you need more on the specifics. We're going to cause collision by putting a small room at the entrance with one door and an unpowered turret. Now we just sit back and wait for a non-breach, non-mech raid to attack us. When we get the raid alert, we just head over, grab the nearby shelved Molotov, and have the pawn throw a few bottles on the wood. Within seconds, the room is approaching 1,000 degrees Celsius. The raiders fall over the fire, self-perpetuating and cleaning most of the mess up as well. And that's it, the extreme basics anyway. Get a long tunnel with a room for fuel that burns for a long time, light it with something, and go back to work. However, there are tons of additional things to keep in mind. Caveats to things, situational changes, etc. I am going to go over all these in a sort of rapid fire section in order to keep the guide relatively short. So here we go. Does this small burn box kill the biggest possible raids? Yes, even quest raids with 700 plus tribals or 300 pirates all die in this. Does it work against tribals? Yes, even if the tribals are all impids with the jogger trait. Does it work against pirates? Yes, absolutely, even go juice fueled pigmen and wasters. Does it work against the Empire? Yep. What about Firefoam popper raids? Well, the foam triggers on damage taken. They die way before they get to the actual fire area, so Firefoam popper raiders shouldn't be a problem. Does it work against animals? Yes, however, animals that are stopped by fencing will get stuck and start destroying some of your fence. You can use chunks or sandbags instead if you want. Those sandbags are way more costly and do increase wealth, and chunks have their own issues. And no, sandbags do not burn anymore. Also, barricades do stop fence-blocked animals just like fences do. Can I use columns instead? No, columns aren't doing you any good in this setup as they don't actually slow down the raiders. Does it work against insects? Yes, but you need something to continuously damage an insect or a hive to keep pulling them so they don't yo-yo back home. Does it work against someone in Phoenix armor with heat resist jeans and a comfortable temperature over 500 degrees? Why, yes it does. The game can't actually spawn anyone that can get close to surviving the incredible temperatures unless you're using mods or something like that, of course. Does it work against sappers or breachers? The short answer is no, though there is an exploit that makes it work, but I'm not going over that exploit in this guide. That's for another time. How much wood do I need? The more flames you have, the faster the heat up time. I like to go with about 30 or more, but if you make it larger and put even more in there, it's going to get hotter faster. What other material works? Well, you can actually use crap that other raiders have dropped, such as tainted clothing, old bows, etc. You may need more room though, as some of these may already have some reduced HP. Wood is still preferred unless you are on a playthrough in which it is very scarce. What all can you start the fire with? Well, you can use a Molotov like in my example. You can craft that at the machining table, or you can buy it, or maybe get it from an early raider. You can use an incendiary launcher, Biotech's new Flamebow, or even friendly Mechs. Anything that can spark a flame without causing an explosion will work. Can I use incendiary IEDs to self-light? You can, but I don't like to. For one, that means it will trigger even if you don't want it to. So if a mech goes through your maze, bam, you have to reset everything even though they are immune to the fire. And sometimes I might want to actually kill all the tribals that are arriving for some humane leather exports. Don't forget the E. Also, putting the fuel in the early part or the middle part of the maze, which you kind of need to do with incendiary IEDs, can cause other problems. Do you need to do the double walls? I highly recommend it as it does insulate the room. Also, if a single wall gets destroyed, it won't suddenly reduce the temperature inside. Do I need to shut the doors behind the raiders? No, you do not need to do this. It gets hot enough even with the doors being open because it's still considered a room. It's too hot for the heat to escape quickly enough. Does this work in super cold maps? Yes, even on ice sheet with a cold snap, it still works. Just make sure the walls and doors aren't made of anything flammable and that you don't start the fire too early. Can you use vents? No, not really. They catch on fire because steel's flammable for some reason, and they can also be destroyed by the pathing raiders. Can you use a geothermal for the same thing? No, it doesn't get very hot, especially with the doors open. Heaters don't work either and would be a ton of wealth and susceptible to power issues, etc. Should I put access doors inside? Well, you can, but if you do this, raiders will destroy them quickly when they start to break, meaning you have to go in and rebuild doors more often. What about not getting prisoners from this? Well, another great thing about this box is that it gives a ton of downed enemies very easily. I won't go into the details here, but basically the more pawns you have, the less likely it is that a raider will survive when they're downed. However, Heatstroke ignores this part of the coding. Once enemies are downed, you can deconstruct a wall or door to instantly stabilize the inside temperature, since it's no longer actually considered a room. Once this is done, you can feel free to go in and scoop up any downed raiders you'd like. Can this be used in a mountain base? It can, but be very careful. You need an unroofed room area between it and your room so you don't cook yourself. Also, breachers are going to destroy it on the way into your mountain base over and over, which can be frustrating. Can my friendly mechs go inside? Yeah, they absolutely can. They are immune to the heat. You can use them to repair or such even when it's still hot. What stage of the game can or should you make this? Well, as early as you can get something to light the wood on fire, really. Is Rotstink or pollution an issue? No, it's pretty much self-cleaning, though corpses will get pushed through the wall sometimes, and you'll have to deal with those ones. Will it kill Biotech's new vampires? The heat can't, but if they catch on fire, they will die. Does burning a child raider alive give the same debuff as shooting one? Why, I'm glad you asked, fellow RimWorld psychopath. The answer is no. Colonists get sad shooting young raiders, let's call them, but not burning them alive, apparently. Now I want to really quickly go over some alternatives to wood. You can use clothing and things, as I mentioned earlier. It works, you just may need more of it due to the HP. Steel conduit actually works super well, almost as good as wood. I recommend to use it if you have a lot of steel, but no or little wood, like in the desert or something like that. Make sure you aren't using built fences, no matter what material you're using. They have way too low of HP, and they burn out without causing much heat. Straw flooring works, but it means you do have to grow hay grass. It also heats up very quickly because it has 150% flammability, so you might have to alter your timing on when you light this. Wood flooring also works, but it takes way more wood to do and more time, plus it gives more wealth. For barricades, wood does work, but again, it's not really worth it. Steel barricades actually don't ignite fast enough and will not work. With the tunneler ideology, you can even plant Nutrifungus. The downside is having to replant it as well as it dying if it gets too cold. Now for some crazy and fun bonus stuff. What if you don't have any material at all to burn? What if another huge raid spawned and you didn't have time to set this back up? Well, as it turns out, you can sometimes just attack the floor and it will still work. You can simply put a targetable spot, such as a baby sleeping spot for that extra war crimey feel, or an animal sleeping spot down and have one person with a Flamebow, or 2 to 3 people with an incendiary or Molotov attack that spot. You can even have 2 or more Scorcher mechs do this for you. The only downside is that it is more hands-on. You might also need more room. Speaking of crazy though, during my testing, I found that a single pawn with a Flamebow and a bandolier actually made the box get hotter faster than actually burning wood. Be sure to check out my super short guide about the Flamebow burn setup. The link's in the description and the pinned comment. And I think that does it. You've now been imparted with the knowledge of the burn box. Whether you want to utilize this so your colonists can go back to researching as the human popcorn goes off in the background or not is up to you. Be sure to keep an eye out for more of my upcoming defense guides and guides in general on the channel. If you enjoyed this RimWorld Killbox and defense guide or it helped you at all, please consider subscribing to the channel, liking the video, leaving a comment down below, and sharing it with others. If you'd like to reference a written version of this guide, be sure to head over to my website, adamversuseverything.com/guides. You can also download the blueprint for the burn box that I used in this video by going to adamversuseverything.com/downloads. And as always, thank you for watching.